You're listening to Blackpool Church Podcast. Join us for our Sunday gatherings to make friends, explore faith and encounter God. Visit our website, blackpool.church. This is the Talk Archive.
We are going to be continuing our series, which is called Where's Jesus In? And it's looking at the Old Testament and recognizing that the whole of the Bible is just one united story, all pointing towards Jesus. And today I want to have a little look at the book of Proverbs. We're going to sneak a load of different little proverbs out of this book. And the topics particularly that I'd like to speak on is the friend zone. So we're talking about friendship. Let me read to you from the start of the book of Proverbs. This is chapter 1, verse 1 to 7. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, for gaining wisdom and instruction, for understanding words of insight, for receiving instruction in prudent behavior, doing what is right and just and fair, for giving prudence to those who are simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance. For understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. I think forming good relationships and friendships is probably the most important achievement of any person's life. Friends can act as amplifiers for our achievements and crash mats for our failures. Friends can speak to us when we need advice and listen to us when we need comfort. And studies have shown that having good friends is incredibly good for a person's life, and not just their mental or emotional well-being, but even their physiology. Various studies have shown that even on a cellular level, you can track whether somebody has good friends. It could be compared in that way to, for instance, quitting smoking or quitting drinking. That's how influential having good friends can be. But studies also show that increasingly people struggle to find good friends. About 1 in 5 men say that they have no good friends. And 44% of people say that they either often or always feel lonely. So what could the book of Proverbs tell us about how to invest well in the relationships that we do have, whether they go on to be lifelong friendships or just passing acquaintances? Well, the first thing I've noticed as I've been reading Proverbs recently is that it encourages us to choose our relationships wisely, to choose our relationships wisely. There are very few relationships in our life that we have no ability to control. Relationships that we couldn't expand to spend more time with a person, or contract to spend less time with someone. Relationships that we couldn't start with somebody that we don't know, or stop with somebody that we think we shouldn't know. And Proverbs tells us that the people that we spend time with have a huge influential impact on the way we live and behave. Let me read you a couple. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Do not make friends with a hot-tempered person. Do not associate with one easily angered, or you may learn their ways and get yourself ensnared. I just think that passage is so interesting, because if it were me, I would have thought that you shouldn't hang around with an angry person because you'll be shouted at all the time or something like that. And that would be really unpleasant. But it's so much worse than that. If only it were just about being shouted at. Rather, it's about becoming somebody who uses anger to get your way just like they do. That's the warning that Proverbs has for us when we hang around with hot-tempered people. And the word that the Bible uses for it is ensnared, trapped. As you begin to learn those habits from your friends, it's going to be very, very difficult to get out of them. It's been said, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And some people have argued that we are the average of our 5 closest friends. You can think about who your 5 closest friends might be and whether you're the average of those 5 people. So if we're going to choose our relationships wisely, what should we be looking for in these healthy relationships? I think we should be looking for wisdom. That's one thing we should look for from our friends. Iron sharpens iron, and so one person sharpens another. I think in this category of a friend who I met at theological college called Sam. And I love hanging around with Sam for loads of different reasons. He likes chocolate cereal about as much as I do. And he's very funny and interesting and talented. He's about my height, which I just find a really winning thing for me, at least anyway, as well. And so we just get on really well. But the reason that I like hanging around with Sam isn't those things. The reason I like hanging around with him is because Sam and his wife Katie, they just live incredibly Jesus-y lives. Like they just live such godly lives. And when you hang around with them, you can't help but be slightly carried along with that. And so me and Nick, we just think, well, look, maybe if we can hang around with Sam and Katie enough, then maybe we'll sort of catch them up eventually just before we all die. That's our aspiration. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. You should look for wisdom in your friends. I think we should also look for loyalty in friendships. Proverbs says, one who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. It says, many claim to have unfailing love, but a faithful person who can find? It's really easy to be friends with somebody who's doing well. Stuff's going well for a person. It's really easy to be friends with them. It takes almost no effort at all, and you might benefit in all sorts of different ways. And what that means is if things are going well for you, don't be surprised if you have lots of friends. But the real test of friendship comes when things aren't going so well. I'm sure if you think back to significant moments in your life where things have been particularly challenging, it was probably like the first phone call from somebody or the first person who came round that had the greatest impact. And so loyalty in friendships, finding people who stick with us through thick and thin is absolutely vital in choosing a good friend. Here's one thing that you might not often think of from a good friend. I think we should look for criticism from our friends. So Proverbs says, wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. Beware of people who only ever tell you how amazing you are and how fantastic everything you do is. People who only ever agree with the kind of things that you think. Those people might just be flattering you and encouraging you for their own ends. The people who love us the most will prove their love to us by risking the relationship, by challenging us and critiquing us when we're getting things wrong. Here's the catch, though. And this one just slightly shocked me when it came up yesterday. So if a good friend is somebody who criticizes you, then if I want to have good friends, I need to be somebody who can be criticized. Can I just say that again, just so that's landed? If a good friend is somebody who criticizes people, then if I want to have good friends, I need to be somebody who people can criticize. That's for somebody today. I'm so sorry, but just handle that. Turn to the person next to you. You're going to tell the other person, do you choose your friends wisely? It's quite a lot of chat for a yes or no question, I'll be honest, but that's fine. The second way I think we can grow good relationships is to use our words well. To use our words well. Your words have the power to bring calm into conflict. They can bring clarity into confusion. They can bring comfort to those who are crushed. And they're powerful and should be used well. Take encouragement, for instance, as a way of speaking. The word encouragement itself, it's got 2 stems from Latin. The first one is en, and that means in. And the second one is cor, which means heart. Encouragement then literally is like when you put heart into somebody. And I don't know if you've experienced that, but I've experienced that so many times and seen it happen, and it is a powerful thing. When somebody sees something that you've worked on really hard or put a load of effort into, and they acknowledge it and recognize that that must have been really difficult and it really made a difference. It's like they're speaking this heart into you, and you're built up as they do it. It's so much more than flattery or compliments. Good encouragements can't just change a person's day or week or month. They can change people's lives. You can remember times where somebody has spoken a powerful encouragement into your life. But it's not only possible to do good with our words, it's also, of course, possible to do damage with them. Your words have the power to heal wounds or to deepen them. Your words can open doors or they can close people's hearts. They can spread peace or they can spark conflict. Your words are powerful and they can be used for good, but also for evil. So what does the Proverbs tell us about how we should use them for good? Well, I remember a few years ago now, when Nick and I lived somewhere else in the country, a moment where I was having a bit of a disagreement with my boss. And I can't even tell you what the thing was about anymore. I've forgotten what the actual issue was. But I know it was one of those things where it was like he was doing the thing that he always did. You know, that kind of thing where it's like, you always do this. Or it becomes like he's doing an Andy. That kind of thing where it's just like, I almost knew you were going to do it before you did it. And that makes it so much worse. And I was just so annoyed with my boss. And I thought, right, I just need to let off some steam. Just need to tell someone, just need venting here. And so I wrote this big text, like, sent it, to Nick, like, he's so annoying, he's so stupid, he's doing all this stuff, and it's just such a pain, and blah, 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 blah. Got this text to send to Nick, and then I sent it. I didn't send it to Nick. And of course, you can presumably guess from the story who I sent it to. I sent it to my boss. And I don't know, it's just one of those things where I guess I had his name in my mind or something like that. And it turned out that wasn't the smartest thing to do. But here's the thing. I wonder whether it was still smarter than sending a gossipy text to Nick. And maybe it was still smarter than criticizing this guy to somebody who had nothing to do with the situation. I've kind of wondered, what would it be like if all of my conversations about people were recorded and sent to them? I don't know if that would change the way that you speak about people. I think it might change the way that I speak about people if that always happened. I need to learn the lesson that if I won't say it to them, I probably shouldn't say it about them. Proverbs says, without wood, a fire goes out. Without a gossip, a quarrel dies down. Whoever derides their neighbor has no sense, but the one who has understanding holds their tongue. And Will Durant once said, one of the lessons of history is that nothing is often a good thing to do and always a clever thing to say. So the Proverbs teaches us, firstly, that our words should be limited. They should be limited. Don't just go on talking and talking and talking. There's a reason that we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Say less, listen more. But our words also need to be truthful. They need to come with truth. Here we talked about encouragement. It's no good encouraging people about things that aren't true. That's just building a person up for a failure later. This is that situation that happens on X Factor, where somebody's absolutely terrible at singing and everybody laughs at them. But of course, they're not the real idiot. The real idiot is the person who told them to go on X Factor, the person who wasn't willing to be truthful with them and decided to encourage them now for the benefit now, even though it cost them later. Speaking untruths just because it's convenient now is never the way to go. And the proverb says, truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment. And so then if we're speaking the truth, how do we do it? The answer is we need to be gentle. Some people are so good at speaking the truth. You probably know these people. And it's just no one wants to hear it because it doesn't come with all that much gentleness. They speak the truth and tell it how it is everywhere. And if that's you, then just on behalf of everybody else, I just need to say, sometimes it's not helpful to say it how it is. Sometimes no one's asked you to say it how it is. Sometimes you've already said it how it is, and we've heard you, we disagree, and you need to drop it now. That's the reality. The Bible says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. I was reflecting on how those two things, they could have the same content. The gentle word and the harsh word. They could say the same thing, but the tone has led to radically different results. So I want to encourage you to work on your words. Maybe you know you're a tell it how it is kind of person, and you need to learn a bit of quiet and a bit of gentle. Maybe you're somebody who loves to keep the peace, but you're willing to hide the truth from people in order to do that. And I want to encourage you to take courage and speak more honestly. Let's do a chat break again, go the other way round. The question is, what would people say about the way you talk? Let's crack on. We've had two things. I've got one more to offer you about good friendships and relationships. So we've heard about choosing our friendships wisely and the importance of that. We've heard about speaking well and using our words well. The last thing that I want to talk about is responding to others in love. So we can choose the best friendships that we want, and we can be working on them by speaking wisely. But ultimately, we can't control how other people act, how they feel about situations, or what they say. And that means things are going to happen that are completely out of our control. And all we can possibly do in those situations is respond well. And we need to learn to respond in love if we're going to build good and lasting relationships. And to demonstrate the challenge of this, I thought we could play a little game. The way it works is, I've got these 3 balls in here, right? And the 3 balls represent 3 different things. So the yellow ball represents nothing, okay? Nothing at all, just nothing. That's what that one means. The second ball is something good, and it represents something good. That's what it is. You think, great, green ball, I can remember that. That's something good. Hang on to that. Third one, you can probably guess. We've had nothing. We've had something good. It's a red ball, and it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. No, it's not. It's something bad. It's something bad, like the Marvel. No, it's something bad. You can remember that one for you. And the way it works is these balls are going to represent the way in which we might interact with other people. John is going to help me. John, come play the game. Yeah, I love that. There's your selection. Why don't you stand over that side? Great. So what happens is John will give me a ball, and that will represent the way in which he's behaving towards me. And then we can decide how we might want to behave in turn. So John, if you could just spontaneously pick the ball that I've numbered 1, that would be really helpful. Excellent. The yellow ball, nothing. Thanks for nothing, mate. Appreciate that. This is the nothing ball. And this ball represents the way in which we might relate to most people. Right? Most people in the world, we have nothing to do with. We don't know who they are. We don't relate to them. Our lives never interact. But it could also maybe represent people that we sort of know. We might know their name. We might recognize them. But our lives, we don't have any sort of meaningful, substantial relationship. And so the question is, what do you do in that situation, in the nothing ball? And the answer is fairly obvious, right? You'd respond with nothing. That would be like the way of the world, isn't it? If people don't really relate to us, then we probably wouldn't relate to them. So Proverbs 19 says, wealth attracts many friends, but even the closest friend of the poor deserts them. And I think what it's getting at there is that when people are rich, they have the ability to do lots of things for people. But if people are poor, or maybe if people are particularly unwell or particularly low status or standing in society, it's unlikely they're going to be able to do lots of things for people. For most people, they'll do nothing. And in that situation, it says their friends desert them. People do nothing in return. Okay, let's go again. Which one are we going for next, John? It's the green one. Oh my gosh, thanks, John. It's perfect. It's just what I was hoping for. It's so green, it's so round, it's so nice. I just like it. It's the something good ball in this situation. And what would we do in response to people who give us something good? Something good, right? Something good. There you go, John. There's something good. Do you like it?
Yes.
He loves it. Of course. Proverbs 17:13 says, if anyone returns evil for good, evil will not depart from their house. It'd be crazy to give somebody something bad in exchange for something good. And we know that when people do this, it doesn't work out well. Like if a husband goes looking around, then he betrays his wife and it ends up not working out well for him. If an employee puts all of their colleagues down in order to get ahead, eventually, somehow, that culture will catch up for them. If someone, we've already spoken about this, if someone regularly gossips, then lo and behold, all of their secrets will end up being known by everybody as well. If you lie to people, they'll lie to you. It would be crazy to do something bad for somebody who's done something good to you. So in general, people don't do that. We do good for good. Let's do one more out of just the last one. You can pick whichever you want and I won't judge you. Oh, John. After everything that we'd done, we'd built from nothing. We started at nothing and we built to something so good. And this is what you give me. It's the something bad ball. Now, I think there's two options at this point for what people do. On one level, I guess the easy answer would be that you give something bad back. Maybe like, I think children would definitely do this. Hot-tempered people would totally do this. Often if people do give something bad back, it's not just something bad, it's something worse. And then the stakes increase as we go. Proverbs warns against this. It says, do not say, I'll do to them as they've done to me. I'll pay them back for what they did. If you do that, it will only increase the stakes. But I think the most common thing that people do is not give something in return. Instead, they give nothing in return, but they hang on to this. It's like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'll bite my lip. I'll hold my tongue. I will rant about it in the shower. I might tell somebody else. I won't do or say anything, but I will be hanging on to this. Thank you very much. And Proverbs, again, warns us about this. It says, whoever covers an offense seeks love, but he who repeats the matter separates close friends. There's so many ways that we might do this. One option is, like if John's a nice person, which he is, then I might just let him know that I have this. And that way I'll be able to make him feel guilty and get my own way more of the time. The second way that we might do it is that we might hide it from John, but we'll show it to everybody else. That way we can garner support and sympathy from other people. We'll not tell John that he's done this. We'll expect him to know without telling him, at which point he'll probably do it again, and I can stock up more and more. Notice, of course, the problem when we do this is that I'm going to build up quite a something bad deficit over this side. And eventually that's going to start leaking out in all sorts of unhealthy ways. So they're the ways of the world. Thanks so much, John. They're the ways of the world. It's nothing for nothing. It's something good for something good. And it's bitterness for bad. I thought we could play it again. And I'm going to show you the way of Jesus, because he plays the game a little bit differently. And the way he plays the game, we can all join in as well. So the first thing is that we won't need these. They can just go at this point. We're not going to need them. Jesus also, he has something else. He brings a few extras with him, right, when it comes to Jesus. Because he has better things to offer us. It's not nothing for nothing anymore. So as the game begins, I suspect if you think, well, I'm playing this game with Jesus, Jesus is like a really amazing, interesting, influential, brilliant person. I better find the something good ball to offer him. But the New Testament in 1 John, it says, we love because he has first loved us, right? Before we've even found the something good ball, Jesus is already saying, like, just receive blessing and peace. I've got something good for you before you've even started. Before you decided to find the something good ball, Jesus already had good things in store for you. Long before you were able to make those good decisions, Jesus was choosing blessing for you. Long before you were even born, Jesus had good plans in store for you from the something good ball before you could even play it. Second option is people might play the nothing ball. And maybe you're here today and you think, well, I'm not really too sure about all of this stuff. Like, I'm still sort of on the fence. I'm interested, but like, I don't know if this Jesus stuff is for me. It's probably nothing at the moment that I'm offering. Well, in Romans, it says this. You see, just at the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Ultimately, all of us, when we come to Jesus, bring nothing. There's nothing that we can offer him. But the passage says, when we were still powerless, he died for the ungodly. It's like, even though you have nothing to offer me, I'll give you my life. Even though you couldn't earn it, I'm going to give you my blessing. That's how Jesus works. Well, then there's only one scenario left, right? And this is the scenario that actually, if we're honest, cuts to each one of us. It's the something bad ball. See, the problem isn't actually so much that we just haven't got round to doing something good yet, and Jesus is in there first. It's not so much that we bring him nothing. It's that actually, if we're all honest with ourselves, we're playing the something bad ball. As I've been chatting through this stuff about relationships, I suspect you can think of ways in which you've hurt people and you've hurt God in the process, that you've played the something bad ball. But that passage in Romans, it carries on like this. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous person, though for a good person, someone might possibly dare to die. But God demonstrates his love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. While we were still just like deep in the mess, deep in the selfishness, Jesus is like, I'll give you my life. While we were still just choosing our own way, rejecting his, Jesus is like, I'll give you a new life. It starts now, but it goes on forever. He's like, I have blessings for you, even though you don't deserve it, even though you couldn't possibly earn it. That's what Jesus does. It's like something good, something very good, even though you don't deserve it. Front row, are you ready to receive Jesus' blessing? Yeah? I've got another bucket. Here's the point, even when you don't want it, Jesus is doing good things. He has good things in store for you when you couldn't possibly deserve it. And if you look at where it leaves us as well, we have so much to give from. Here's the secret. If you take just one thing away, here's the secret to great relationships. Just pass on the love of the Father. That's the secret. Just pass on the love of the Father. We don't need to play the same game. Yeah, come on then. Bring it. Go on, one more. We're just passing on what Jesus has given us. We're passing it on. So you might think, well, I don't really have enough forgiveness to offer this person who doesn't deserve it anyway. That doesn't matter because Jesus has poured so much into you. If you're in a situation where you need to try and love somebody who seems particularly unlovable, it doesn't really matter because Jesus has poured so much abundant love into you that you couldn't possibly run out. And the more you give, the more he will refill you with his goodness. The secret to great relationships is just pass on the Father's love in as many ways as you possibly can.